Good morning from Yami B TV. Wishing you all well. Sending plenty of love your way on a bitterly cold day coming from down here. Now, along the years of my institutional stays, like many a time when I was released, and the do-gooders and the ones that are giving you good advice and have your best interest at heart always used to say to me, Yami, you've got to move away from your area. Too many red flags, too many reminders, too many people that know each other, that grew up with each other, who are always going to talk about when this happened, when he did this, when she did that, who went with who. Like it's a kind of thing where if you stay in there, and this only became apparent to me, obviously, in later life, that the longer you stay in there, the more that you are staying with when this happened to him and her. Yeah, everybody believes they hold something over somebody. I was always of the belief, well, I am now, that when people talk about others, yeah, that happened to his mum and his dad, and my sister went, like all the kind of stuff that goes on in an area where everyone knew each other from childhood to even now, seem to be able and feel the need to still talk about those things that happened so long ago, or maybe in their own eyes, in the way that they read it and saw it. Doesn't mean that everybody's right in the way that they remember when. Now, after moving away, it's around this time now where I went the early bits when I came out, I went back and, I was in the local areas, and I still found that this kind of stuff was still going on. I remember that. People still stopped talking to each other over things that happened a lifetime ago, but they don't even know why they stopped talking. Yeah? You need to let go sometimes. And the moving away, in the end, seems to be a big answer when you're moving forward. It is so important, especially if you've lived the lives that some of us on Yami B TV and some of us that watch Yami B TV know, that you fall back into those old ways very easy if you stay in the vicinity of the places where you grew up, or the same kind of environments. Not saying anybody's better than anybody, and who are we to judge, but for your own self, the moving on to a new place. Not so much to reinvent yourself, because when you move into another area, they will be going through what I've just described there. But you would be laughing in the thing, because after all, they won't be able to say when about you, because they don't know as much, supposedly, as those that you grew around, who don't seem to be too forgiving. And I always believe that a lot of people that want to talk bad about people, when, especially in those areas that I'm talking about, often feel the need to say those kind of things, because there are plenty of people that can say about them when she went with him and he went with her and they stole his and he was that and that what happened and all that. I mean, you never get a chance to move on, because after all, we're not talking about when. We're not even talking about if. We're talking about now. And that, I think, was a key factor to what the questions you're asking me about the moving on stage and all that. In fact, after I started to go back to those same areas, it was true. I didn't feel the same person that I once was by being around all that. It stunts your growth. It stops you from moving on. It won't let you stand a chance. And then when they see you after a year or two or months and you pop into this function, or, to participate in bereavements and things like that, they say, oh yeah, you're looking well, and yeah, you've done really, do they really mean it? Some obviously do and are really happy for that. Some have been able to manage in those environments and understand about what it brings. And after all, they've got loads of family there that is really secure for them. You know what I mean? We're not talking about that. We're talking about people like me where it went wrong, really, and it caused a lifetime of pain to others, and it also cost me the best part of my whole life, because during those early days, all I used to do when I used to get released was want to run back, and you get used to what you thought you belonged to. You felt like that was the only place that you knew, but it isn't. Yeah. So that when, it doesn't really hold much value to now. What they needed to remember is that when people do move on, that all it's not so much about when, it's not about what you're doing with yourself now to come out of toxic behaviors and red flag behaviors that leads you acting in a way with no soul fulfillment. My heart goes out to a lot of people that still struggle, who can't get away, because I see now that it would have been humanly impossible for a man like me to keep going back and seeing the sentimental value of growing up, still loving very much of those people. It would have held back my journey. So that was probably one of the best bits of advice that I ever got when you want to move on. And that would be to move away from the area. Coming up in a minute, some of the funniest fights, and a fight, the kind of fights that can happen when a little man fights a big man. And it really, really goes the distance. I'll be up in a minute, all right?